It was still dark when I rolled down that back road outside Magnolia, Mississippi, the kind of road where you can feel folks staring from behind their curtains, even if you don't see a soul. My old truck rattled like it always did, coffee cooling in the cup holder, radio low. Coming home, that's what I told myself. But home had a way of moving around on me, especially after I left the Navy, especially after Afghanistan. You can train your body to be stone, but your heart, it still remembers every mile of bad road. The flash of blue and red in my mirror hit me like a cold hand. Out here before dawn, that kind of light doesn't feel like safety. It feels like a trap. I eased off the cab, pulled to the shoulder gravel popping under my tires. Two deputies stepped out. One older, thick-necked badge polished like a weapon. The other younger, eyes darting, hand grazing his holster like a nervous tick. He rapped on my window, rough knuckles on cold glass. License and registration. No, ma'am, no, good morning. I slid the papers out, slow, calm as I could. Morning, officers. Something wrong? The older one smiled without smiling. Out-of-state plates. What's got you creeping through our county before sunrise? The younger one circled my truck like a buzzard, his flashlight bouncing over every dent and scratch. I'd done this dance before. Keep your hands visible, voice steady, don't argue. But some nights you can smell when a stop isn't about a taillight. It's about you. And tonight smelled like trouble. Just heading home, I said, giving them nothing. He leaned closer, his breath sweet with coffee, his eyes sharp with suspicion. Mine stepping out of the car. That wasn't a question. The sky hadn't even started to blush yet, but the world already felt mean. I slid out, boots on cold gravel, heart steady but coiled tight. The young one smirked, tapping the butt of his taser like a promise. Any weapons, sweetheart? Nothing illegal, officer, I said, watching his eyes flick over me like I was a bag of loot. We'll be the judge of that, he said, and the older one chuckled low. People like you always running from something. They found their excuse a few minutes later. Or planted it. Little bag of white powder under my seat, glittering under the flashlight. Well, well, the young one grinned, shaking it like a snow globe. Looks like our lady Navy SEAL's been partying. My voice cut cold. That's not mine. He laughed like a hyena. Heard that one before. The older one leaned in, voice syrupy and poisonous. Careful with your words, Missy, accusing deputies of misconduct. Not a smart move out here. And then before I could blink, his hands were on me. My face shoved toward the hood, wrist twisted, my breath slammed out of my chest. Gravel bit my knees. Stop resisting, he barked, though I wasn't resisting. The young one crouched close, whispering, nobody can hear you. Nobody cares. His boots slid against my hip. I gasped, I can't breathe, and he chuckled like it was a joke. But see, they didn't know me. They didn't know the training burned into my bones, the calm I'd built in worse places. I let my body go limp, my heartbeat slowing by a force of will. They thought I'd cracked. I was listening. They bragged about quotas over time, how I was just a tally mark. Their words turned to rope, and when I felt the moment, I moved. My hand clamped the older one's wrist, twisted hard. His breath caught in his throat before he could curse. I rolled, came up on my knees, elbow drove into his chest. In one smooth motion, I locked my arm around his neck. His hands clawed at me, but I only pulled tighter, my lips at his ear. Now you know what suffocation feels like. The young one lunged, but I swept his legs with a kick, years of training, snapping back like muscle memory. His arm cracked under my grip, bent on clattering to the asphalt. The bag of powder burst open, white dust rising around us like snow in a nightmare. Stay down, he squealed. The older one gurgled. Please. I slammed his face onto the hood metal, groaning, blood blooming under his cheek. I pulled my phone out, thumbed the camera on. The red dot blinked like a flare. Say it. I told them, voice low but caring. Say what you did. The young one sobbed. We planted it. It wasn't hers. The older one croaked. We targeted her because she's black. The words hung there, poison in the open air. I stopped recording, tucked the phone away, and whispered, tomorrow the world will know your names. Headlights swept across the scene, back up. Doors slammed. A taser cracked. My body seized, muscles locking, and I hit the asphalt again. This time cuffs bit deep. But even on my knees, I knew I'd already changed the story. I'd made them confess on camera. someone was going to see. Inside the station, a detective named Sonia, a woman who still believed the badge meant something, found my name locked behind red banners, hidden files, a list of black veterans tagged like prey. When she saw the video from my phone and the clip a bystander had posted me, gasping, "I can't breathe," she stopped being careful. She copied the files to a flash drive, knowing it could end her career, maybe her life. Word leaked. The church elders, the veterans, even folks who'd sworn off politics showed up on the courthouse steps. Reverend Price, old as the stained glass behind him, told the crowd, "They call it quota. I call it evil with a badge." People nodded, cried, raised fists. A veteran with a prosthetic hand shouted, "We fought for honor. Kingsley disgraces every uniform." The crowd roared. Meanwhile, Sonia grilled the older deputy in a tiny room. "Your body cam was turned off at 2:59 a.m. Same minute your ex-military consultant arrived." "Explain that," he stammered. She slid the narcotics log across the table. "This bag was checked out for training days before your stop. Your signature's right here." Sweat rolled down his temple, his bravado cracked. In the hallway, the union boss hissed at Sonia, "Drop this or lose your badge." But the rookie officer slipped her proof, the narcotics log that tied everything together. We started winning not in courtrooms, but in whispers and files, in the quiet courage of small people doing the right thing. Every day, the wall cracked a little more. The DA finally looked at the evidence, saw a Brady violation so big it could drown her office, and began preparing mass notifications. Hundreds of cases. The quota machine was about to eat itself. And up the chain, Kingsley, the man who trained me in the Navy years ago, sat in a walnut-paneled boardroom with a tech CEO and county officials plotting to scrub drives and bribe a tea. They said one black woman and a handful of whistleblowers wouldn't ruin them. But one of their own, tired of the lies, had his phone recording the whole meeting. By morning, the audio was everywhere. Obstruction, bribery, destroying evidence. You could feel the old guard panic. The union abandoned the deputies, suspended quotas, cut them loose. The chief found himself alone, cut off by his powerful friends. And the feds rolled in black SUVs, gold lettering, crisp suits, with no time for small-town stonewalling. The FBI and DOJ pattern or practice task force fanned out through the building, seizing computers, evidence boxes, contract files. A storm, but this time not aimed at me. I stood on the courthouse steps, free at last, cuffs gone, but wrists still raw. Sonia stood beside me, exhausted but steady. Calvin Shields, the civil rights lawyer who'd taken my case, held up the evidence box to the cameras like a trophy. In the crowd were church folks, veterans, kids with handmade signs, "Truth matters, no more quotas, Greenville is watching." For the first time since that night on the road, I breathed easy. But here's the thing, winning in daylight doesn't erase what happens in the dark. Kingsley still had allies. The DA still faced lawsuits and appeals. Some people still wanted me gone. And even among the crowd chanting my name, I could see doubt in their eyes. Could this really change? Or was it just another flare that would fade? I don't have all the answers. I just know I was a soldier overseas and then I became a target at home. They thought I was prey, but I was the huntress. They thought they could bury me in paperwork and lies, but I dug my way out with truth and steel. And somewhere in this county, a rookie officer saw that and decided she wouldn't be silent either. Sometimes that's how revolutions start. So now it's your turn. If you've ever been stopped and felt that cold dread, if you've seen someone abused by a system that was supposed to protect them, if you've wondered what quota and numbers really cost, tell me. Drop your city in the comments. Tell me if you think we did the right thing or if fighting back only makes it worse. Tell me what justice means where you live. Because until we all start talking, the wall stays up. And if my story proves anything, it's that one voice recorded in the dark can crack a wall built over generations.